Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gannon, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you don't have the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsayingwjs for article and video updates. Week 14 is upon us. We kick off Thursday Night Football, and for once, my team is on a national game, which is super nice for me. Minnesota Vikings host the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Vikings were in their Color Rush uniform. That's why I got the Color Rush Harrison Smith jersey on. But the Vikings lost a huge game last week and gave what was then winless Lions their first win of the season in a walk-off win. Okay? Now, I said this last week, and I know, Jack, I'm going to let you get into this. I'm very upset with my team right now. I said this last week in the video. If we lose to the Lions, there goes our playoff hopes. And I still stand by that. When you lose in December to teams that you have to beat, teams that you should beat, and you lose them, I'm sorry. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs. And the way that the Vikings played there at the end of the game, Cam Dantzler, you was 3 feet away from him. I don't know why. You had that pick early on. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But you weren't there when we needed you the most. I'm hurt. I'm worried about the Steelers game. What are your thoughts on this one?
Man, tough loss for you. But like you said, you won't be needing any special package to watch your team this week. Going to be on prime time, exciting at home against the Steelers. Definitely like you mentioned, just such a critical game for the Vikings right now. You got 5 games left in the regular season. They're 5-7. Right now, they're technically still in playoff contention, but they have some tough games ahead. They got to win this one. I'm definitely expecting something close. We got some really good offenses here, some tough, gritty defenses between the Vikings and the Steelers. Mainly we're looking at this as, just kind of an interesting thing. Adam Thielen, high ankle sprain, suffered last week in that loss. Going to be an interesting way to see, if Kirk Cousins is going to be able to utilize his other weapons, not only with Justin Jefferson, who's been having a great season, but, Conklin, who we've seen get involved in the red zone, Alexander Madison, who we saw last week, really getting involved for the Vikings offense without Dalvin Cook, and also KJ Osborne, the young guy. How are you feeling about these weapons? You think it's enough to take down the Steelers defense, which is always, a tough matchup?
The thing that I'm going to be looking at is TJ Watt is back and healthy, obviously. And so that means he's going up against Rashad Hill or Brian O'Neill. Brian O'Neill has been a solid right tackle. We signed to a big contract in the offseason. Definitely deserved it. And our rookie left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, our first-round pick, was injured in that San Francisco game with an ankle injury, and he had been playing well up to that point. Now we're forcing Rashad Hill back in, and Hill has not played well at the tackle position, whether it's giving up tons of penalties, giving up tons of sack yards. He just has not been the left tackle that you need. And that's the matchup I'd be worried about. If TJ Watt is all up in Kirk Cousins' face, if TJ Watt is getting in the backfield after Alexander Madison, I don't see how the Vikings are going to move the ball efficiently to win in this game. So if I'm the Vikings and I'm the offensive line coach, I'm saying TJ Watt, all eyes need to be on him. We cannot let him get constantly in the backfield. The same goes for Cam Hayward. If these defensive linemen are getting in the backfield, they're getting in Kirk Cousins' face, we're not going to be able to move the ball very well. When there's pressure with Kirk Cousins, that is when he's not at his best. And yeah, he's had a great season, only 3 interceptions and things like that. But he's got to step up in this one. You're not going to have Adam Thielen. Expect a huge Justin Jefferson game again. Last week just went off 11 for 182 and 1 career high in receptions, career high in receiving yards that game. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this one. I really don't know the outcome of this game right now.
Yeah, and you're looking what the Steelers have been able to do. Just in this season, there's been a lot of doubt. They were able to get the win last week, in a very tight game against the Ravens, and something that we see in the Steelers team is fight, and just being able to take teams down to the last moment. Not just thankful for their offense. Big Ben has some great weapons around him this year. Some rookies, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, and Chase Claypool, and then you also have Deontay Johnson, who's having one of the best seasons of his young career, honestly.
Yeah, Johnson just went absolutely off the last few weeks. Last 4 weeks, he's had 80 plus yards, Each of those games, he's had 7 or more receptions and 11 or more targets. He is kind of solidifying himself as the wide receiver one right now. Obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster went out. We don't know if he's going to be back. Signed a 1-year deal last year with the Steelers. Could be gone in free agency, might come back. His value dropped a little bit, not having the best season and then getting injured and having to miss the remainder of the season. This is what you want to see from Deontay Johnson. This was a guy just a few years ago that was drafted out of Oklahoma State, known as the burner, known as the deep route guy. First year and a half, he really struggled. A lot of drop balls, wasn't getting separation. Big Ben even called him out on it his rookie year. Now you're looking at him 2 years later, just absolutely dominating right now. This is exactly what you want to see. And as for Najee Harris, look, it's not pretty, his stats. It's 217 carries for 779 yards and 5 touchdowns. It's not pretty, 3.6 yards per carry, but he gets the job done. And he doesn't stop moving his legs. You can run him 30 times a game. You can pass him 10 more times on top of that. He never seems to get tired. He never seems to slow down. So just give him a year or two. Let them shore up that offensive line. And you're going to be seeing he's going to be a 5 yards per carry kind of guy, constantly getting 1,000 yards and things like that. This is just the beginning for him. And obviously, Vikings defense, you got to make sure that you stop him. You got to be aware of where Harris is on the field and everything. Big news for us, though. We are getting Patrick Peterson back. That's really going to help out our secondary that has not played very well. We're 23rd in the pass, giving up 250 yards. And the Steelers offense is not great this season, but our defense gives up a lot. We're giving up a lot of yards, giving up a lot of points. Steelers are only 22nd in total yards, 15th in passing, and 29th in rushing, 21st in points per game. Vikings defense, 30th in total yards, 23rd against the pass, like I mentioned, 29th against the rush, and 25th against in allowing points per game. So if there's a matchup for the Steelers to put up 30, this is the defense to do it against right now.
No, I agree. So, I mean, that's an X factor for me for the Steelers is, just their weapons in the kind of matchup here against the Vikings defense. I hope the Vikings win this game because it keeps them alive, in the NFC North race. But there is just a huge thing there with Adam Thielen and Cook out for me right now, just very crucial times in the season. Those are the guys they run their offense through. We mentioned Jefferson a lot, but when it comes to those touchdowns, those middle of the game, needs to even up the score, big plays, it goes on Adam Thielen, and without him, that is a huge factor for me. TJ Watt being back to disrupt Kirk Cousins, we've seen him, as you mentioned, only make 3 interceptions this year, been mistake free for a good amount of weeks. So I think that this is the defense that could make a couple of mistakes for him. And without Justin Jefferson's number one guy on the other side, Adam Thielen. I'm interested to see how his performance is, but really, really interested in this matchup. It's going to be high scoring and very close. I do think that it kind of comes down to the Steelers being able to pull off one of those one possession wins that we've seen them do a couple times this year.
Yeah, I'll stick with the Vikings because I just want to be a hopeful fan, as pessimistic as I am, as I'm sure everyone's very aware. I'm very upset with my team currently, and many people know how I feel about the season right now, and I'm not happy. I feel like we should have won some games that we didn't, last week being a good example of that. But I'm going to trust them. I'm hoping that we get Everson Griffin back. He's came out about his mental health being bipolar. We missed him last week, and I hope that he's in, getting a veteran presence that's been with us for a while. And you mentioned Adam Thielen. That is a huge loss for us. Kirk Cousins has 25 touchdowns on the season, right? 10 of those have just gone to Adam Thielen alone. Yeah. That's the bulk of his touchdowns going right his way. So that's a huge presence miss. He is our red zone threat. He is the guy that we look to once we get inside the 20-yard line. He is our blanket guy when it comes down on the 3rd and longs and things like that. So obviously Justin Jefferson will have a big game. Obviously Alexander Madison will have a big game. It's up to KJ Osborne or DD Westbrook. One of them is going to have to step up in place of Adam Thielen, or it's going to need to be a combination of both of them. I do expect Kubiak to really open up this offensive playbook in this one. We're going up against a good Steelers defense. We're going to need to be aware of where TJ Watt is, Cam Hayward is, Micah Fitzpatrick. These are guys that we need to be aware of. We need a scheme around them to do our best to get our offensive moving. The first half against the Lions really struggled. Second half, we picked it up. We need the second half to basically be what we're doing this entire game nonstop. This is, if we lose this game, statistically, we're still technically in the playoffs. But if we lose another game, a crucial game, I don't care what statistics say. We're done. We don't even deserve to be in the playoffs. And I currently think right now, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs after the loss to Lions. That was just absolutely unacceptable this late in the season. We all knew what the mission was, and we just didn't execute it at all. So I'm going with the Vikings, but if they lose, I am not going to be shocked.
Yeah, definitely not where you wanted to see them. Both of our teams really looks like they're following that theme this season. But yeah, very interesting for me. This game, I think that they're good on both sides of the ball. Statistically, I don't think it backs up what these teams are. I think that both teams have had some incredible matchups in the huge schedule. Balancing this year of just weak teams, strong teams. So it's interesting when you see these two kind of powerhouse teams that are getting hot, but they started a little slow and they got to pick it up at this time of the year. Very excited for that.
Yeah. Well, let's hope for the best because you know me. If we lose on Thursdays, the rest of this week is just going to be absolutely awful for me. All right. It's already a tough week. I'm not kidding to everyone listening. Before we have to get off, I'll just say one thing. After the game, we were at the Giants-Miami game this weekend, and a lot of my friends know I'm a huge Vikings fan, obviously. I have so much Vikings garb. And I got about 10 texts from family and friends just being like, I'm really sorry, buddy. So that's how you knew it was a brutal game last weekend. When you have all of my friends and family texting me, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Next year, okay?
Right, so, when we're walking out of the stadium too.
Right as we're leaving the stadium, I get a notification that the Lions score in the last second, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't. That goes.
His world
there goes
was shattered.
It was awful, terrible. Cried a little bit. It's been an emotionally tough week for me so far at work. But that is all the time that we have. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, enjoy the Thursday night game. Should be a huge showdown. Vikings. Steelers, check us out, justsayingfootball.com, Just Saying Football on YouTube, and Just Saying OGWJS on Instagram for all your video and article updates. Thank you for checking it out.
Enjoy.